VR has circled the world for decades and has provided some experiences that are absolutely jaw-dropping in many ways. However, as years go on, technology continues to grow, and with that, so does virtual reality. The PlayStation VR2 is not your typical average leap in tech, and for us to understand why it's going to be the new benchmark for VR, we have to dive a little bit deeper into why that is. PlayStation VR2 is offering tech inside of a headset that until now has really only been seen on a PC, and now owners of the PlayStation 5 will get their PlayStation VR2 headset that is about half the cost of a high-end gaming PC, depending on what country you're in. For years, people have loved VR and have always tried to improve it and make it the way of the future. However, it didn't really kick off until 2010. In 2010, there would become the Oculus Rift virtual reality headset prototype. And yes, in this picture, it looks completely ancient for today's standards, but back in 2010, this was something very revolutionary. In 2013, Valve and HTC started HTC Vive and ended up releasing their first version of their VR in 2016. And one of the bigger announcements came in 2014, the announcement of the PlayStation VR1, encouraging players for the first time to live inside of their favorite game. People can now play as Batman and actually see themselves as Batman, along with getting lost in Resident Evil for the first time. This made PlayStation VR1 a must for a lot of people, and it offered games that you wouldn't get anywhere else. Though the tracking was pretty poor along when it came to calibrating your IPD, not to mention there was only about a 4% conversion rate from PlayStation 4 owners getting the headset. That being said, still to this day, the PlayStation VR1 is loved by many, and once we hit 2018, Facebook revealed the Oculus Half Dome. This was a fully functional prototype that provided users with up-close clarity on items and expanded field of view in a headset. The Quest 2 was reached by millions, specifically 14.8 million units have been sold. Now that is absolutely sensational. However, it's unfair to compare the 14.8 million units sold to the PlayStation VR2, which has yet to even be in people's hands. But what is fair to compare is the Oculus founder himself, who went as far to say that he was absolutely blown away by the PlayStation VR2. At the recent CES conference, we saw many testers test out the PlayStation VR2 and had nothing but positives. The few negatives were a lot of the technical difficulties that were going on during the conference due to the amount of credibility and interference when it came to tracking. And it's important to understand that these testers have spent hours inside of PC VRs. Not to mention the PlayStation VR2 has Horizon Call of the Mountain, which from many testers looks to be a second close to Half-Life Alyx. And if you didn't know the game Half-Life Alyx, it's one of the highest and most immersive experiences you can possibly get in VR when it comes to just gaming. And we know that Resident Evil 4 will also have PlayStation VR2 content, so we know that the headset can handle the industry-leading tech like Capcom's RE engine. That's not to mention that the PlayStation VR2 is offering a string of games more than any other console release we have ever seen. And speaking of games, we have official new releases by Sony, starting off with one of the most beautiful games on PlayStation VR2, Kayak VR. This game will be great for friends and family who might not have ever stepped foot in virtual reality before. This can introduce them the right way and show them why we love these virtual worlds so much. We will also be getting Song in the Smoke. Song in the Smoke is a single-player survival adventure game that is set in a very beautiful environment, but it's also in an extremely deadly world outside of its time. And if you originally owned this on the PlayStation VR1, well, you'll be happy to know that it's going to be a completely free upgrade if you get the PlayStation VR2. Next, we have Pavlov VR, which is a multiplayer shooter which is heavily focused on community features. It emphasizes realistic loading features and fast-paced combat as a big part of its experience, and it's also known as the #1 VR shooter on PC. And lastly, some great news for a lot of people is we finally have confirmation that Gran Turismo 7 will have the full game. Now, this was a worry on a lot of people's mind that they wouldn't be able to experience the full game. And let me know down in the comments if you also expect to be getting the G29 gaming racing wheel to go along with Gran Turismo 7. Now, there are a large portion of Meta lovers, and there's also a large portion of Sony lovers. However, there really should be no rivalry at this point because PlayStation VR2 is furthering the virtual reality benchmark. It might be for somebody that doesn't want a Meta product. And though the PlayStation VR2 itself might not be the sole virtual reality for everybody, there is still a huge player base that's going to be getting the PlayStation VR2 for their first ever VR experience. And not to mention, if you're still watching this video, I want to thank you so much. And not only that, if you're a returning viewer, well, welcome back, and I appreciate you helping me get to 1,000 subscribers. That's right, guys. We hit it. I can't believe it. I'm truly humbled. Literally, guys, thank you so much. It literally means the world to me. And if you're here for the first time, and if you want to be part of the future of this channel and the future of VR, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and I really appreciate it. Want to know more about the PlayStation VR2 and what you're going to be getting and what has happened after CES? You want to make sure you click on this video right here. I'm JizzleVR, and I will catch you in the next video.